guys, and welcome to yet another speed build. Happy Sunday. We are back with yet another speed build. Yeah, I said that already, didn't I? Yeah, anyway. To this one, which I'm just gonna lay it all out there to start off with. This has got to be one of my favourite builds I've done so far. I prefer this to Hogsmeade, I'm going to say that. That's the other Georgian that I have on the channel, so this is definitely a step up. This house is called Highgrove because it is actually based on the house that is owned by Prince Charles, so we're very royal and regal today. Yeah, basically this is the house he owns in the countryside and where Harrie and William grew up. It's very much a thing. You can't tour the house, but you can still tour the gardens, even though he lives there. Even when he's in the house, he still does tours. It's just a kind of pre-booking thing. I haven't ever been on a tour, but definitely worth it. He was kind of like a pioneer of organic gardening. He's very much the gardener of the royal family, and this house reflects it. So I was really excited because not only is the house gorgeous, but the landscaping is also gorgeous. Lots of the time you have these kind of builds and they're very, very much in the middle of nowhere, to be honest, and their landscaping isn't really considered. It's just kind of trees around them and that's about it. So yeah, I was happy to be able to recreate this. So this can class as my much larger Georgian that I had been promising since said Hogsmeade video, but it's not the actual one that I was talking about. It's just yet another larger Georgian. So, if this video is received well, I suppose I can still always do that other large Georgian that I was talking about. The gardening may kind of remind me a little bit of this one, but it's definitely a different type of garden again. So this in real life has lots and lots and lots of different areas, very specific themed type of gardens. I think there's like the stumpery, so it's kind of like a woodland theme, lots of obviously tree stumps and things grown around it. There is the very much natural garden at the back of the house, which I have recreated, and then there's a side garden. I don't know what the theme of that is. I'm gonna try and still talk to you while looking. You will hear my very, very loud mouse clicks because I thought it was being a pro gamer and getting a really expensive mouse, but in reality it just clicks a lot louder than all the rest. What can we say? Let's see if I can find the name of it. But yeah, this is on a 64 by 64 lot, just in case you were wondering. And I was actually quite surprised at the speed it managed to be finished for the outside, that is. When I got to the inside, I did the first level pretty quickly, and then I was slightly dilly-dallying, we might say this. But yeah, we haven't actually finished this yet, believe it or not. I did do a poll yesterday on the community tab, late last night actually, asking, because this is such a big build, lots of landscaping, huge exterior plus huge interior, if you wanted this to be in 1 or 2 parts. So you guys, 70% of you said you wanted it to be in 2 parts and be more in depth. So that's what we went with. So this is just the exterior for this one, but to be quite honest, the exterior just by itself deserves its own video. It really doesn't deserve to be cut down. I will be taking that poll kind of into consideration in the future. For if I do have large builds, then I'll be more than happy to split it into 2 builds. It's just that as a YouTuber, you kind of second guess what videos are going to do well, because I sometimes, part 1 always does amazing of a video, but then part 2 is always lower than part 1. I'm like, no. So you always think, oh, maybe I should put it in 1 part instead of putting it in 2 because the views are low on the second one. But no, I'm just, in the future, I'm gonna spread them over 2 parts if they need to be over 2 parts. So thank you very much for helping me make that decision. I hope you don't regret your decision in the future. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, so this actually is a condensed version of Highgrove house. It has another side kind of extension there where you see that bump out on the side. Over there it's like a full-on, I think, double story. Yeah, 2-story addition to the house. Still done in the same style as the original house, but it's an addition, and I thought, you know what? This build is big enough as it is. I'm gonna leave that addition off, and instead I actually do what is going to be a converted stables into a garage. That's what I do on that side instead, just to break it up a little bit. There are lots of different houses and there are lots of different buildings on the estate, including like a full-on restaurant and everything. So yeah, we're just kind of, this is the condensed version. There is one feature that I really wanted to put on, and I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't get to. Unfortunately, when it's on a 64x64, you're kind of restricted to this square lot format. I really do prefer my lots to be kind of like a portrait orientation, so longer than they are wider, but with this one it's equal. The width was perfect because I needed like this side garden to the left hand side, and to the right side I did the garage. But I needed it to be longer from the front to the back of the lot because there's this amazing walkway and they have loads of yew trees and you can walk along, and it's like a kind of epic walkway, tree lined, and I really wanted to include it, but there just wasn't enough space. When I'd done the front of the build and both sides and I went to look at the back, there just wasn't enough space to fit it in and do it justice, because they have these really cool trees that actually shaped into squares. So you have a normal tree trunk and then you have squares. I was gonna do that with hedges and raise it up and do little like fake trees. What are they? Oh my god, not a tree stem, tree trunk. Oh my god. Thank you. Brain is working today. Yeah, I just wanted to do, that was my plan, to fake that and do that, but unfortunately there just wasn't the space. So we end up adding more trees round to the back to just make it blend in with the rest of the environment here. We are on the 64x64 lot in Windenburg, in the countryside bit. I have built here a lot. I just have to say I really need some more worlds with 64x64s, because I don't know how many times I have bulldozed this lot and rebuilt it. And also the same with the island one. I think I have several different builds that go on the island 64x64 lot. I tend not to build so much on the Brindleton Bay 64x64. I think I just personally prefer Windenburg. Yeah, because the Practical Magic house was on the island 64x64 in Windenburg. So I just have so many builds that have been on this this lot, that if you're looking to find a build of mine to place here, you're kind of spoilt for choice, I'm gonna say, on this one. Anyway, you can see I've already started the landscaping. I put these plants in. I'm pretty sure when I left the build and came back in that my terrain paint was gone. Pretty sure I lost all of this terrain paint that's underneath the plants. Luckily I'd only done that much terrain painting, so it was tiny, but I came back in and I was like, where's my terrain paint gone? There is a bug that when you leave the game or go to manage worlds and come back into the lot, yep, terrain paint gone, that it disappears. So as a practice now, I normally actually save my lot into my library before I close my game, or before I go into manage worlds, or just in general go out of the lot. I always save it to my library, so that if I come in and the terrain paint has disappeared, I just place my saved lot and all the terrain paint is back again, and then I don't have to redo everything, because I tell you that trick has kind of got me out of a few jams. So yeah, but anyway, what I really loved about this building, it's not the most ornate building, which Georgian times were not ornate, they were a lot more simpler. but I loved, they have wisteria growing all over this house. I've seen it in like autumn, it looks amazing. There's like red and yellow leaves and everything, it looks autumnal. I'm yet to see what this build looks like in autumn actually. I'm not too sure if the Jungle Adventure bougainvillea plant that's on the wall there, the climbing plant, if it actually if it changes with the seasons. There's certain decorative plants that don't change with the seasons, or the outdoor plants will, but sometimes those climbing leaves and everything aren't classed as plants and they don't change with seasons, so I'm not sure if those ones do or not. Those are my special default overrides of those, because I love how it's more 3D and I think it looks so much better being 3D. If you have a build that you can use that kind of 3D look climbing plants on, then I'm just like thumbs up. But they only had them with all the flowers on, so I decided to recolor it to have it only be green, and it's definitely something that came in handy. I did it for another build that's yet to be ever released or finished. This is a common theme here, but yeah, I'm so happy I did those, to be honest. I love that item from Jungle Adventures, but I just wanted it to be a bit more versatile. I was even thinking about updating it and adding a few more green swatches, but I decided, you know what, in life all greens are not created equal, and I was gonna kind of make it blend in more with all the other greens used in the build, and I decided no, let's have it be a little bit different. And of course there was the swatch with the, I think those are light pink flowers. Wisteria is normally a lavender lilac-y purple, and I was gonna kind of put like the get to work flowers on there. I think there's a purple in that, but I prefer these, and I'm okay with the colour difference. It still gives the same effect without it being as close to wisteria as I would like it. Anyway, we're onto this side garden. I still didn't manage to find out what the name of this side garden is. Every garden area kind of has a name. I'm just going to search for Highgrove. Let's see if I can find Highgrove house. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm this side area, this landscaping here was really, really, really lovely. I watched a documentary and it had like, I think it was like an hour long on the gardens, just on the gardens, and I don't know, it was really informative. I got to see a lot of things, but obviously it kind of concentrated more on interviewing all of the gardeners that are involved in keeping the gardens as they are, rather than actually showcasing all of them, which is a little bit weird. Right, I'm on the website trying to look. Oh, this side area that we're doing here is called the Sundial Garden. And it is changed up seasonally, like year to year. It's not always the same, but in the pictures that I had, it had a lot of, do I use foxglove? I think I used foxglove. I think it had a lot of foxglove flowers in there, so I definitely want to go with that. And it's just, everything about these is kind of, it's a cross between heavily manicured and very, very much informal, higgledy-piggledy. There is kind of the standard, I don't know, rules to landscaping, and it kind of goes against all of the standards. And but yeah, they had lots of these in the middle. It kind of went big in the middle and then worked its way back lower as you got to the front of these hedge borders around all of the I can't believe I actually forgot that this is called a sundial garden when I too have used a sundial right in the middle of that area. So yeah, I've tried to do it as close as possible, and kept like the border hedges and kept these. I think it's a little bit, I don't show it all in this, but I do go back and actually change a lot of these to white. There was just a few too many colours for me. It is meant to be very much all over the place colour, But there are a lot of bushes that have flowers on them in the game, and not a lot that are just plain bushes. There's that round one that I've used there on the edge, and there's also one that I've used around the front of the house, which is that I think it's like an unruly, unkept hedge thing. But apart from that, there's not a lot of green that you can use. So I wanted it to have a little bit more green. I do go through and put in some of the wild grasses in there as well afterwards, and change some of those multiple different colours just to white, and keep it to make it a bit simpler and all that good stuff. So I'm happy with this one, but this is nowhere near as good as in my opinion, as the garden that's at the back of the house. I don't think it has a name. No, I think it has a name, but it is, it's my favourite, and I think it's called the Lily Pool Garden. Is it the Lily Pool Garden? No, I think it was a bit more unruly than that. It definitely wasn't that one. It's more natural because for this one I definitely wanted to keep the foxgloves, so I had to use the romantic romantic garden stuff pack flowers, whereas the one at the back I've used a whole load of debug flowers, and I think to me they just look a bit more natural, and it looks very, very much British AF, so I'm beyond happy with that one, and it looks very natural and organic, whereas that one on the side, the Sundial Garden, looks a little bit more put together than I would have liked, but I think it's a good compromise for the flowers that I had to use. Anyway, we're on to this side bit now, which is going to be, my idea was it was converted stables. I don't know about all of the buildings that are on the estate. I only know that there's a restaurant and there's of course the main house, but I thought, you know what, there's bound to be some kind of stables, converted or otherwise, or some kind of outbuilding. So I decided to make up my own and have this own story that it was converted stables into a garage. I see this very much as a place where staff that run the estate are going to be going. So I end up putting like car decoration outside, as if there's parking spaces outside for staff to park. Of course, they're not going to park in front of the house. They're going to park in front of the garage and all this stuff. So this area here is basically a like parking area for cars, and for, of course, the gardeners to come in and out to do the garden without going via the main house, if you get what I mean. So yeah, more terrain painting. I do make sure that none of those plants, by the way, are poking through the house by the end of it. But yeah, still lots of trees. I wanted this to look like it's been here for many years, if that's possible in The Sims, to make something look like it's been there for many years. But I'm really happy with how realistic this house looks when I take a photo of it. I think I've used every preset I have, every reshape preset I have in my game to try and capture this in the best way. I think I'm a huge fan of Hazy Days and Blueberry Aid by Picture Amoeba. Amoeba. I'm a huge fan of that. That is like my go-to preset for screenshots. But I really liked their what's it called? Oh my god, it's totally fallen out of my head. It's not Cool Summer, that's their other preset. They have another preset that's really fallen out of my head that they have used, that they made recently. Cool, I feel like it's Cool something. Cool Days? I don't know what it, oh my god, it's fallen out of my head. I'm gonna search for it, why not? Picture Amoeba. It's like, why is this such a problem for me? My brain just can't get it. Anyway, also I have used just those doors from Plum Bubble Tea Society's Cottage Garden Stuff Pack. I left it in my game because I thought I was going to be a very clever person and put all of their outdoor clutter items over everywhere, but I ended up not actually needing it. Yeah, I just didn't end up needing it, apart from these barn doors, which are amazing and great. But yeah, I didn't use it. So if you don't want to download Plumber Tea Society, if you don't want the extra CC in your game, it is literally just those doors. And also, as you can see, they replaced the cats and dogs, dog and cat doors that were sized up 3 times. You have to size them up at least 3 times before they don't make this weird cutout thing on the front of your wall. But yeah, they work just as well. I've done those in other builds, and I was just I liked the alternative of actually having open barn doors and then you could see inside. I did go off camera after I finished this, and I was just not really happy with the way that this garage looked. You'll see it probably in the you'll definitely see it in the screenshots, but I ended up putting the same trim that's on the main house around the top of this building, and also put on there we go, you can see it there, my Jungle Adventures stone blocks, the recolors on the edges as well to add a bit more detail. It's just a bit too simplistic. I looked at it and it looks very cartoony versus how realistic the main build looked. So I just wanted to bring it a little bit closer to looking like the realism that I managed to achieve on the main house. Anyway, this one here is this very English higgledy-piggledy, all kinds of flowers, plants thrown together. The one thing that I just tried to do was make sure that it was totally unsymmetrical. There was not any kind of pattern that you could see to the planting, and yeah, so I made sure that if I put something in one corner it wasn't the same in another corner, and we just mixed it up. Again, we're using, I say again, actually no, for the first time really, we're using debug items in the form of these cats and dogs walls. I love them. That's one of my favorite debug items, and also it's just in the regular build catalog if you have bb.show hidden objects. It's not in live edit objects, it's just in debug, that wall. I don't know why they allowed us to have that in debug and not the other stuff, but I was more than happy to find that before we had live edit objects. It's really quite versatile because you can size it up to size it down depending on how big you need how long you need the fence to be, and also they've got those end pieces there, so it just makes everything work together. There are a lot of fences in the show live edit objects under that cheat in debug, and yeah, I don't think I've used any of them yet, so I should definitely do another build or something. But this one we went with the cats and dogs wall, and the plants. The debug plants to me just look a little bit more realistic. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably the choice of green. It's a little bit more real to me. I'm not too sure. But I was a big fan of this area. I took quite a few screenshots of this and posted it up on Twitter, which if you want to see advanced sneak peeks, definitely go follow me on Twitter. My handle there is hey_Harrie. Because here on YouTube you can only post one image as a sneak peek, and I don't want to spam you with like 5 images, but of course on Twitter I can do that quite easily and spam you. And also on here on YouTube you have to make it a square. As I said before, not even Instagram makes you do squares anymore. So yeah, I'm definitely very active over on Twitter. If you want to see sneak peeks, I definitely head over there. And yeah, this was the area that I think I took 2 photos of it. It's kind of difficult to get a good shot of this because the house is right there and it kind of blocks some of the sun sometimes. But yeah, this is the right amount of green versus flowers to me. I wish I had actually used more I wish I had used debug items just in general in the other garden rather than in-game plants, which is really strange. But I definitely think the extra effort on making this a debug garden was great. Also saves you a little bit of money on the house because it is going to be mega expensive. I haven't actually finished the interior yet. I was running late because yesterday I didn't get to spend all day on it like I had planned, so I already finished the exterior and I started the interior, and I managed to do like 1.5 levels, so I still have the second half of the interior to do. I will have part 2 of this up with the finished interior plus the like full showcase of the build, and also the download link and list of CC used on Tuesday, so you only have to wait 2 days before the next part is going to be out. Hopefully. No, definitely. I promised myself I wasn't going to say this, but I do actually have a kind of provisional upload schedule that I've set myself, so you can expect to see builds on a Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday usually. That's my days for uploading now that I've set myself. Of course, when university comes out, there is going to be a whole lot more than 3 videos in a week. For that one, I'm aiming to have a video up like every other day instead of 3 days out of the week. So yeah, still on the university hype, still thinking of more ideas. I started investigating speakeasies because that was one of the suggestions, and so excited about doing this. I think it could look really cool with some of the debug items to make it look like it is kind of some kind of back alley entrance into this amazing speakeasy venue, bar, lounge thing. I think that's really cool and a kind of sophisticated look for a university, not such a down market bar, I suppose, but I really like that look. Traditionally they're like 1920s, like prohibition kind of themed, but you can really have a speakeasy, a modern day speakeasy based on any kind of theme. I've seen on my hunt, I've seen like tiki bar themed ones, I've seen some like ultra modern ones, every kind of theme under the sun, to be quite honest. I think I've seen like spy themed ones, and I think I definitely need to investigate this more in the future in real life and go to one. I'd love to be like knock knock and like to come in. No appointments allowed, you just have to like turn up, and yeah, no reservations, like table reservations allowed. You just have to go in and just be like, I'm here. So yeah, we're coming to the end of this. We're going to go through screenshots of the exterior. I'll be back in 2 days with everything to do with the interior and all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back very, very soon. Bye guys.